Hi, welcome back to Jessa's Book Nook, or welcome if you're new. It's the start of my favourite season, autumn, obviously, and I really wanted to do my top autumn reads for you all, and I have a real mix here. I've got like Gothic classics, I've got cosy books, I've got some creepy horrors, and I've even got a murder mystery with a kind of bake-off twist. I'm starting with a book that is easy to read in one sitting. It's a very short novella and it is The Canterville Ghost by Oscar Wilde. And this is about an American family who move into a old Victorian manor, which naturally has a resident ghost. And this ghost takes his haunting very seriously. What I didn't expect from this book was that it was just unexpectedly hilarious, and this was the first book I read by Oscar Wilde, and it's what made me fall in love with him. I think this is one of the only books that I've read that is both spooky and really witty and dry at the same time. So it's very much my sense of humour and I really love it, and it just has that perfect autumn feel. Okay, up next, look, I'm cheating a little bit because I'm saying a particular author, and the author is Olivia Atwater, and I do want to mention these two books in particular, which are Half a Soul and 10,000 Stitches, and these are part of her Regency fairy tale series, which is a bit like Jane Austen fairy tale, fantasy, romance. They're very comforting and very enchanting, and they don't have those typical relationship dynamics that you might find in a fantasy romance, and also because it's a historical fantasy romance, it's got just a very different feel. And I don't know, these books just kind of scream coziness and comfort and autumn to me. I absolutely love both of them. And I will say Half a Soul is the first one in the series, and then 10,000 Stitches. I love both, but 10,000 Stitches is my personal favourite. You technically could read this one first if you wanted to, but the side characters in this are the main characters in this one, so I do think that you'd get more out of it if you read it in the correct order. But yeah, these are perfect if you want something that is whimsical and romantic and has those autumn vibes but doesn't have the kind of darkness or the creepiness that you might get in, I don't know, some other autumn recommendations. Switching things up with a graphic novel next. This is Pumpkinhead by Rowell, and this is a recent find to me. I literally just read this and I really enjoyed it. It's very cozy. You're gonna keep hearing me say that because a lot of these are cozy. This is like if you put autumn into a book. I mean, the two characters, they are friends who literally work at a pumpkin patch, and it's full of, autumnal scenes and autumnal food and autumnal vibes. I don't know how many times I'm going to say autumnal. It's just so beautiful, and the artwork is beautiful. And on a personal note, one of the main characters, Deja, she experiences attraction to people in the same way that I do, and it's not something that I see represented in books very much. She isn't attracted to people by just looking at them. She doesn't fancy people just from their looks. She only starts to like people and starts to feel attracted to people from actually getting to know the person. And that is how it works for me as well, and I don't see that represented very much in literature. And it seems like she might also be pansexual, or she could be bisexual. It's not explicitly stated, but I did get some hints that maybe gender was kind of irrelevant to her in her attraction, which again is how it works for me as well. And it was just really nice because I just don't see that kind of representation in books normally, so I really liked that. Like I say, the pansexual thing, not confirmed. She could be bisexual. It's just the feeling that I got from it. But yeah, overall, am I going to use the word cozy again? I think I am. Just a very cozy autumnal read, and I mean, it's set in a pumpkin patch. Like, you can't get more autumnal than that. Okay, onto something a little bit darker now, and this is one of my favourite books ever, and it's The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is the OG dark academia book. Like, this is what made dark academia a thing. It's moody, it's atmospheric, it's definitely elitist, and the characters in it are some of the most unlikable, pretentious people you'll ever meet, but that doesn't matter because it's also just absolutely brilliant, and part of its charm is actually those unlikable characters. And this is another one that just screams autumn. It just has that, I think it's the atmosphere. I also tend to associate autumn or fall, depending on where you're from, with cosy murder mysteries. And look, this isn't a cosy murder mystery, but it is a murder mystery, but it's one very different to others. And that's because it's not like a whodunit, because we know both who's dead and who's done it right from the start. And somehow Donna Tartt still manages to build so much suspense in this book, and it is so gripping and so tense, and I don't know how she did it. It is absolutely masterful, and yeah, perfect for this time of year. But if you want a more fun and cosy murder mystery, then I would definitely recommend The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell. This book is like the Great British Bake Off, but with murder.
I pass out?
Yeah. Oh dear.
I love the Great British Bake Off. It's just so wholesome and so cosy, and I watch it every year. I just love it. You've basically got all of the contestants going through a baking challenge, just like you have in Bake Off, but it's obvious straight away that there is a saboteur in their midst. And basically someone ends up dead, and they're trying to work out what's happened and who's killed them, and it is a locked room mystery. I would say it's definitely a slow burn, but it also has surprisingly good character work, which I don't know, I don't feel like I always see in this genre. It's another one that it just feels right to read at this time of year. I don't know what it is. I think it's just, again, it's the cosy murder mystery, and perhaps because I associate Bake Off with autumn. Okay, up next, obviously autumn is the season for Agatha Christie, and this is my favourite Agatha Christie book, at least out of the ones that I've read by it, and that is And Then There Were None. This is such a chilling murder mystery. It's definitely not cosy, but I do relate it to autumn vibes still. So all of these strangers are lured to this island, and they don't know why. They don't know why they're there. I know, right? Why would they go? But they start getting bumped off one by one. And they are trying to work out what the connection is between them all, why they specifically have been chosen to be there, who's bumping them off, who's going to be next, and it is just so tense and so gripping. And it has a very unsettling twist. Okay, on to something a little bit different now, because if you're in the mood for something more reflective, then I would go with The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. This book follows Stevens, who is a traditional English butler. He is coming up to retirement, and he is taking a look back on his life. I'll say that the setting in this one feels very autumnal, and it has the quiet beauty of the English countryside, and I love the descriptions. It's very restrained, and I think that Ishiguro is a master of writing restrained emotion, and this is no exception. Everything is elegant and understated, from the prose to the character himself. Yeah, it carries just so much weight, and it is so profound and so moving. There is a line in this, and it's near the end, and it just haunts me. The character of Stevens is such a restrained person himself, and he holds you at a distance the whole way through, just like Ishiguro's writing does. And it's actually hard to feel attached to the main character, and that's definitely deliberate in here. There's a part near the end, oh, it just got me. And it captures that bittersweet mix of beauty and melancholy, which I kind of associate with autumn. Next up, no autumn reading list in my eyes is complete without Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Oh, this is so gorgeously written. I just adore the writing in this, and it's set in England, and it's in a gorgeous Gothic estate called Mandalay. Now, Rebecca is not actually the protagonist of our book. She's more the person who haunts the protagonist of our book, because she is the former wife of widow Mr. De Winters, and our protagonist is his new wife, who has moved on to the estate, and everywhere that she looks she sees Rebecca and she becomes obsessed with Rebecca. The staff there are also always reminding our protagonist of her predecessor, especially Mrs. Danvers, who is infamous for being just so sinister and so creepy. I personally think that this is one of the best Gothic classics that I've read so far, and it's just perfect for an autumn evening when you want something that feels really atmospheric and just completely immerses you in the story. Speaking of Gothic, next up we've got The Woman in Black by Susan Hill, which is a short but chilling ghost story. This is actually another one set in England. I've just realised that quite a few of them are set in England, and I think that might be because the association with the kind of English moors and they just make a great setting for really, really creepy Gothic novels. So yeah, a few of them have found their way into this video. That and my just general love of Gothic vibes. This book is very foggy marshes and isolated houses and just creepy and sinister vibes. It kind of gave me that unsettling feeling of being watched, and after I read it, I was genuinely a little uneasy in the house. I read this when I was in the house by myself, and I was kind of like, you know, looking round and looking into corners and looking round doors for a little bit after I read this. Plot-wise, we follow a solicitor who goes to settle the estate of a recently deceased woman, and he basically encounters the Woman in Black, and we go into the legend of the Woman in Black, and things just get creepier and more sinister as it goes on. I think this is another one that's perfect to read in one sitting, and definitely read this at night. It will creep you out. Next up, I've got a newer, creepier horror, and this was a recent read for me, and it is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. Marcus Cleaver? I'm probably butchering that name. I'm including this one in here because I think that horror and autumn just go hand in hand. And this one gave me those just really unsettling and creepy vibes. This is a scary book, but it's not scary in a gory way, it's only scary in a psychological way. And I say only, like, psychological horror can be incredibly scary. This is about a couple who move into a new house, and then one day, while one of the partners is out at work, a family turn up and basically say that they used to live there, and the dad would like to show his kids around the house so they can see where he grew up. Our protagonist is a big people pleaser, and she isn't very good at setting boundaries, so even though she doesn't want to let them in and she gets some kind of eerie vibes from them, she does end up letting them look around the house. And the young daughter, she hides in the house and they can't get her to come out, and everything just starts to unravel from there. I could not have predicted where this was going. This book absolutely blew me away, and I have so many theories about what happened, because it is kind of left a little bit ambiguous, which can be a problem for me sometimes, but it wasn't with this one, because you know what, all the clues are there and it just leaves you with so many theories, and like I'm pretty sure I know what happened. There's just so many hidden clues in this, and it's one of those books that I really want to go back through and annotate and make sure that I've got every last clue out of it. Like, there's even Morse code in the chapter names of this book, which like I sat down and worked out the Morse code afterwards and then realised I could have just looked it up. But yeah, it doesn't give you easy answers, and I would say that's one of the reasons why it's so brilliant. Sticking with horror but moving to something that's darker and witchier, we have Slewfoot by Brom. This is set in 1660s New England when all of the witch trials were going on, and it's a blend of folklore and horror, and I guess I associate this with autumn because it's the atmosphere of it. The atmosphere is just so autumnal. It's not cozy, it's definitely creepy and horror, and there is gore in this book as well. Our protagonist Agatha, she awakens this very powerful spirit known as Slewfoot, and she's also being accused of witchcraft. She's also been recently widowed, so you know she has a lot going on for her, and it really follows her story and how she gets out of these situations and what happens with her and Slowfoot, and it's honestly it's kind of brutal. I mean, not kind of, it is brutal, and it's very much one of those I support women's rights but I also support women's wrongs books, and I just absolutely loved it. Okay, next up I have another classic. I just feel like autumn is a really good time for classics, especially ones like this. This is The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. I, again, absolutely adore this book. It definitely has that moody autumnal feel. It has those Gothic vibes and it has a sense of mystery, and it's also got strong feminist themes, like a lot stronger than you would expect from the time this was written. I can't even imagine how out there this must have seemed back then. Anne Bronte didn't shy away from addressing some what were very taboo topics back then, including things like domestic abuse and alcoholism, and the female protagonist in this does things that would have been completely unacceptable at the time, and she is very much outcast and looked down on because of it by the rest of society. Bronte created a character who did things like slamming the door in her husband's face, refusing him sex, and illegally fleeing from an abusive marriage. Even more, this book actually discusses how bad marriage can be for women, and especially at the time how bad it was for women, because it literally made you a man's property. This would have been seen as incredibly progressive for the time, and it is one of the things I love about it. But it's not just that, I love it because it's just such a great read, and the descriptions are absolutely amazing. But yeah, absolutely love this. And I mean, on my copy, even the cover gives me autumn vibes, you know? Like, it just, everything about it is autumn to me. Okay, next up I've got We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. This one is very creepy and very unsettling. I think it has a little bit of a slow start, but once it gets going, it really gets going. So it's about two sisters who live together in this very creepy house. Their names are Constance and Merricat, and Constance was accused of murdering their entire family. She was acquitted. However, the villagers don't trust them, they don't like them, they are very much social outcasts, they are very isolated. And Merricat, she has quite a unusual personality, and she's kind of an unreliable narrator as well. There is a part in this book where I audibly gasped because it was just so chilling. So yes, definitely recommend this one. It's not cozy, but it is creepy and gothic and unsettling, and it just gives me those autumn vibes again. Next up I have a book which was just made to be read at autumn, and that is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is about a hobbit called Bilbo who lives the ultimate cottagecore lifestyle. Like, he is living his best life in his hobbit hole, and the descriptions of it are just gorgeous. Like, I want to live there, you know, I want my own hobbit hole. Can you imagine? But one day, Bilbo's quiet and idyllic life is interrupted by a wizard named Gandalf, and he is helping a group of dwarfs on a quest, and he needs Bilbo's help. This one definitely is nostalgic to me because I first read this as a child. I think I was about 9 or 10 at the time, and I absolutely loved it then, and then I reread it a few years later, and honestly it's been a while since I've read it, but I remember that it has those autumn vibes, and it's the coziness and the comfort, and actually kind of the atmosphere of it and the feelings it gives me is what I remember most about this book. I think it just has a perfect mix of adventure and comfort, and also a big journey of self-discovery. So yeah, this one is perfect for this time of year. Now, if you're in the mood for something darker, I would definitely recommend Macbeth by Shakespeare. Now, there's probably a lot of people who've already read this one, and I'm sure that you know what it's about. This is my favourite play by Shakespeare that I've read. I definitely haven't read all of them, but I absolutely love Macbeth. And again, it's mostly because of the atmosphere, and I'm realising that I definitely am very drawn to books that have that really intense, rich atmosphere. I mean, right from the first scene of this book where you start with the 3 witches, it just sets the scene so beautifully, and it's so just dark and dramatic, which, you know, I'm dramatic. I like drama in my books. But yeah, to me, this one is perfect for this time of year. It's also one of his shorter plays, so again, you can definitely read it in one sitting. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think if you're not used to reading Shakespeare, like, bits of it can be tricky, and there are definitely bits that like throw me off as well, but I don't feel like you need to understand every single word. I do think that this one is very good for being able to read it and understand it without necessarily needing to know what every single word or every single phrase means, and you definitely will pick up on the story and the vibes either way. I mean, if you can go and watch the play of it, then I think that's even better. Okay, so I said 15, but there is a bonus 16th book, and that's because I just love it so much, and it does fit in perfectly. It definitely has those, oh, the dark autumn vibes again, and I'm never going to shut up about this book, so I'm sorry that this has been on my channel a lot already, but it is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, and I'm not going to bang on about it again because I know I've mentioned it a lot before, and I just adore it, so it won't be the last time I mention it, put it that way. But I also won't go into it in depth just because I've gone over it before on my channel, but this one is perfect for autumn. It has those, again, the Gothic vibes, and of course it's about vampires, but it's about so much more than vampires as well. It's also about relationships and endings, and it's so beautiful and so moving, and yeah, it's perfect for this time of year. So I won't go on about it anymore, but I did just want to throw it in there just as a little bonus pick. So those are all of my autumn reading recommendations. Let me know what your recommendations are, and if you've read any of these and which ones you liked, or if you plan on reading any of these. And of course, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!